Hello, 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 everyone. Let's see what we got for you today. If you like those French cars from the 90s, those bread and butter cars that everyone were familiar with back in the 90s, well, you're looking at the right video because this is one of them, and it definitely qualifies as a bread and butter because it was one of those cars that it was a perfect size for many families. Well, let's get to details. What we got for you right now, it's a 143 scale Peugeot 306. Now, the Peugeot 306, what can we say about this car? Many families owned it back in the day, especially in Europe and other parts of the world, and some countries still have a lot of fond memories of trips in these cars. I seen many of them on the road back in the days. They were quite popular in Latin America, like I'm sure in Europe too. Now these cars, as you know, the Peugeot 306, they made them in all type of sizes. They made them as a 3 or 5 door hatchback, like the one that we're looking at right now. They made it as a 4 door saloon with sedan. They made it as a 5 door state or station wagon, as we are familiar with in other parts of the world, and as a 2 door cabriolet, convertible too. And as you know, these cars were designed by Pininfarina, except for the convertible. Actually, the convertible was designed by Prieto Camardella at Pininfarina. So it's part of Pininfarina too, but it's a special designer. So it's someone that specifically just designed for the Cabriolet convertible, however you call it. As you know about these cars, they're related with the Citroën ZX. You could probably notice about the shaping, the roundness, especially the rear end is very round, like the ZX is. It was too. Unfortunately, ZX they didn't make it as so many different body styles. Actually, they did, but only for the Chinese market, like the sedan. But that's another video. Now we're getting back with the 306. As you probably know already, the Peugeot 306 was the successor of the Peugeot 309. They took over the Peugeot 309, and that was the back in. It replaced the 309, I guess, since 1993 on. I like the 309. The 309 was a nice looking car. I know it was very, very popular in other parts of the world too. So the 306 kind of took over the 309 in their markets, and they did as good too. But I know 309 did very well in many, many markets out there. I like the color, and not to say, I think the color was very attractive. This one right here that we're showcasing right now. Let's before I get to the engines and transmissions and all that, with the Peugeot 306, they had three different faces. This is the original one. This is face one. Now, Peugeot 306 face one was sold between 1993 until 1997. Let's talk about engines that came out in these models. You had a gasoline or petrol, however you call it. You had a 1.1, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, a 2.0, and also a 2.0 16 valve. And all these engines were 4 cylinders. And then for diesel, you had a 1.8, you also had a 1.9, and you had a 1.9 turbo diesel. All of them were 4 cylinders also. So all of them were 4 cylinders. There were no 6 cylinders in these cars. Well, these are compact cars regardless. You're not really expecting to be a rocket, you know. But quite interesting car. Really nice looking. Alright guys. I'm gonna let this car go around a few times. And I'll be right back. All right, everyone. Just so you know more about the Peugeot 306, like I mentioned before, it had three different phases: phase one, phase two, and phase three. The phase two, it only refreshed more a little the car, the front end a little bit, also the rear end, but it was not big changes. And the same thing with phase three. It was just refreshing even more, but it kept the same shape always. It did not change the shape of the car altogether. They just kept it more or less the same format. It was this basically was to make it look more modern. As the example, phase two was only for 2 years, which was from 1997 till 1999, and phase three was from 1999 until 2002, which was the end of the Peugeot 306, and that's when if I'm not mistaken, the 307 came by. I was taken by yeah, the 307. So you know, it kind of they want to keep it. They want to extend the model, but they have to refresh it a little bit here and there just to make it attractive and make it more or less matching what the times were, making cars more modern. All right, guys. Don't forget to give me that beautiful thumbs up. I always thank you so much for it. Comment below. What do you guys remember about these cars? Do you remember seeing them on the road? Were they sold in your country? Were they reliable? Do you still see them on the road? Because they sold in big numbers, so hopefully they still got a few of them on the road, and hopefully they're taking care of them. Because in the future, these cars will be classics. Not so much now because it's still a 90s car. But I would probably say another 15, 20 years. These cars will be a very rare sight, even in France, probably. All right, guys. Don't forget to click and subscribe. And when you subscribe, don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button that will remind you when I'm posting more videos. And, take care of yourself more than ever, as I always say. Make 2025 the best year to come. We hopefully everyone started in a good way, and let's keep the good or positive thoughts running throughout the year. All right, everyone. Goodbye.